What's up, folks? We are back again. This is round 6 now of the MoJo Showdown, and today we are at Imola. I'm here to talk about featuring Sleepy Kitty in the background. And going into this race, I don't want to say concerned, but I wasn't expecting much because, I put in my due diligence in terms of practice and preparation for every race equally. But as a pad player, I think I might have mentioned this before, but there's a few tracks in the game where you're just at a gigantic disadvantage. And I'll talk about it later, why that is, for those that care. But basically, Imola is one of, if not the worst tracks in the game for pad players. Literally, pad the wheel, it's literally like more than half a second loss a lap. It's insane. So going into this race, even if Timo were to win this race, my championship rival, we have the championship lead right now. I don't know how much, and I don't know how much we trail going into this race in constructors because some people have been a little late with the standings, so I don't quite know the points tally. But regardless, we are second in constructors still, behind Williams, but we are leading the Drivers' Championship over Timo by about 14-15 points-ish. I don't know, again, the standings haven't really come out in a couple weeks, but anyhow, moving on. Like I said, today is Imola. A little bit better attendance today. Remember, this is only an 18 grid, not a 10-team grid, so 16 is full grid, so 12 out of 16. Not that bad. Still definitely getting better, but it's very much quality over quantity. You don't have anyone in this league that is going to ruin the race for everyone, like certain other leagues I'm in. When I say certain other leagues I'm in, I mean 100% of the other leagues I'm in. I could probably make, if people are interested, I could make a montage of just my races getting absolutely chalked at no fault of my own, and I promise, even though I've only been league racing since late April of 2020, that thing would be at least 2 hours long of just non-stop league races getting ruined. But anyhow, we're readying up now. Like I said, championship still looking good for drivers, but today isn't looking so good because this track is just the worst to drive on pad. I hate it so much. I'll get more into the technicalities of that as we get into the race. But yeah, my big goal going into here is just at least get second. That's my goal in every race, but especially in a race like this where you're disadvantaged so much for being a pad player. Looking for second, and I'm really hoping that we can continue to make inroads towards Williams in terms of the constructors standings, because like I said previously, though I have I believe 5 drivers championships in league racing so far, I only have 1 constructors, so I want to kind of break my constructors curse and hopefully take both championships in this league. But yeah, as we ready up going into this race, this track's a very simple one-stop strategy, softs to mediums, but for some reason I suck at math. And going in here, you'll see I actually will end up starting on the medium tire because I looked on my notes and I saw on my notes it said, here, I'll bring it up right now. I'll point it on the screen so you guys can see what I saw. Where are we at? Imola. Yeah, right there. You'll see the top. I'll put it on the top line. This is, what is that? 15, 21, 26. But my brain didn't put together that 15 plus 21 is 36. For some reason, my brain thought that if I add up the laps of soft and mediums, it was 26, so I was like, oh, I gotta do mediums to hards here. Like, I was just bad at math. There's no other way around it. When really, like I said in previous videos, I like to start on the softer tire when one-stop strategies because you can be more flexible with that strategy, and also deal with less traffic. The avoid people strat is like the #1 strategy I can give starting league racers, because you'll think going into league racing, oh, we're around league racers now. That means people are going to be competent. Gravely mistaken. People will F up your race at a a very high percentage of the time, because people are not the brightest and they are way too aggressive when they should be, and they also spend a lot of time watching esports drivers or other high-level streaming league racers, so they think, oh, I can go for this one car width lane and hold that, when they don't have the skills to do what they're trying to do mentally. And yeah, so avoid carnage, avoid traffic, and be flexible in the strategy. Start on the softer tire. Don't be like this dipshit on the screen right now. Start doing his qualifying lap on the medium tire. But going into this lap, just want to get a solid lap in. I was not expecting to get pole here. Nice and smooth so far. And that's my goal. Just nice, smooth, solid lap. Don't want to invalidate and start in the back, because like I said, you don't want to be in on the pack where the chaos will happen. But so far, so smooth. I could have broke maybe just a little bit later there, and I turned in just the slightest bit too early. These are little things you kind of nitpick on yourself looking back on it. And yeah, not too much to say other than what I've already said, you know, what my expectations are going into this race and such. But this lap, you know, looking back at it, it was a pretty good lap, I feel like, to my own ability. Obviously, as a pad player, you're not going to be able to carry the speed through the corners as you would like because of the steering saturation, keeping you from turning left to right as fast as you need to for pretty much all of the chicanes on this track. Which wheel, you know, it's 1-to-1. You go left, right quickly, it does it. On pad, it doesn't. Everyone that's watched previous videos has already got my explanation on that. But anyhow, coming up to this line, this lap was nice and solid. And it looked like it was close to pole there. You know, qualifying complete comes up, not when you cross the line, but when the leader crosses the line. And it was right on it, so I thought it was P1 or P2. I am P2 by... It just flashed by there. We'll get a better look at it here in a couple seconds. But it was a small gap. And it was about this moment, right about... There's XP I don't care about. Only a 10th back on mediums, that's fucking fine. Yeah, that's fucking fine. But it was about here, I was like, why is everyone else on softs? Like, Timo would know it's mediums the hards. And I look at my phone while this is loading, I'm like, oh, 15 plus 21's 36. Not 26. Also, I get a cat climbing on me around this time. I won't have that issue right now because now she's sleeping. She knows when I turn around and look at her. If I make any move, this cat gets up. So yeah, heading into this race, I mean, Timo's going to have a big advantage early on, being on the soft tires and on pole. But I was, like you heard my live reaction there, very happy to see that I was only a 10th off. I mean, he probably just didn't put in a good lap, but only being a 10th off on the medium tires compared to the soft tire run, you go, that's a big win. So it's a win-win, you know. I see that my pace is on par with what Timo's going to be doing. You know, if I was on the same tire, I would have got pole by a few tenths. And I'm still ahead of the rest of the pack. So yeah, coming into the grid start, remember, no formation lap. Maybe we can get a good start, but very unlikely. Even though I get really good grid starts, well, in this game, the difference between the tires off the line is much greater than what it's been the last couple of days. Couple games, I should say. And as you see, we get the better launch, we get maybe the slightly better reaction, but the traction of those soft tires is going to pull ahead. We're not going for anything risky here at all, especially on a track where it's so easy to bin it like Imola. So earlier one, we're going to stay just right in the line, and hopefully, if we're lucky, we'll be able to use ERS to stay within his DRS and just help him tow us along as much as possible in the stint that we're going to be slower. Because at this point I know that, I don't want to say I made a mistake, but I did what I usually wouldn't do. You know, I would prefer to be on the softer tire right now. Because if there is a safety car in the window where Timo can go to the mediums to the end of the race, but I can't go to the mediums again because I'm already on the mediums, then I basically just lose the race right there. You know, that's one of the main reasons I like being on softs, because like I said earlier, the versatility of the strategy is grade A stuff. I love it. It actually just won me a race in a very high level league. I'm recording this on Monday night, it would have been yesterday, so yeah, and right away you can see Timo is pulling away. He has much better pace than he did in qualifying, the soft tires versus the medium tires. But luckily I'm not getting any pressure from behind. and it is his teammate behind, which is bad news for me, honestly, because, like I said, I'm here to win Constructors as well, and that's not a good sign when your teammate's in the pits on lap 1, and your rivals are first and third. So yeah, all going downhill rather quickly here early on, but nothing was really phasing me right now. I'm on a different strategy than him. I'm racing my own race. I just focus on my game and play to the best of my ability and kind of just let myself finish where I finish, basically. So when you try to overextend yourself and focus too much on what everyone else is doing, that you lower your own level of play. And yeah, you'll probably hear me or see me over the course of this video asking Jeff a lot of questions. Every little bit of information helps. If I hear that, if I know if I'm in DRS or not, if I hear that someone gets a penalty or not, all that stuff really important, especially because I already got a dumb warning on, I don't know what the turn numbers are, on lap 1. Yeah, early on here, the pace feels decent for medium tires. I'm not getting any pressure from behind, so I'm just kind of in my own pocket here, and I can just
DRS is now enabled.
Race my own race. DRS enabled now, but honestly, it doesn't even matter because no one's in my DRS and I'm in no
gap on the car behind by 0.5 per lap.
Yeah, we're half a second quicker than the car behind. And yeah, it's just cruising time. The things that are going to determine who wins this race are basically still yet to happen. Obviously, every lap counts because right now he needs to build, Timo that is, needs to build as much of a gap to me as possible, because I will be fast at the end of the race, whereas he's faster right now. So we'll see how this plays out. And now here, halfway through lap 4, and there you can see our teammate has retired from the session. And that's rough for the Constructors. Don't have a teammate scoring points in a race today, and my rivals are currently first and third. Like I said, I knew going into this race that if there was a race this season where we're going to lose points on our rivals, it's going to be this one, but you still hate to see it. Nonetheless, especially on lap 4 of 32.
We're racing again.
But, you know, the kind of hidden bright side is I don't have to worry about anyone taking up the pit when I need to go in, and I don't have anyone else to focus about. I mean, I don't really focus on anyone else anyhow, but, you know, it's just me out here. And there can kind of be a benefit to that mentally. And Barkologist, he was the driver in third. He's the other Williams teaming with Timo. And I think he was having connection issues in this race. He was P3 at the time of that disconnect. I'm not sure where he ends up finishing, if he does reclaim P3 or he actually drops position, but I guess we'll see here by the end of this video. But yeah, as you can see, I'm at the point where I'm starting to slowly claw back the gap that Timo was building. There's definitely going to be a point in this stint, well, hopefully, I was hoping, I should say, that the mediums would start, because they wear slower. The softs are faster, but if the softs have that much more wear on them, you know, there comes a point where the medium tires are then the quicker tire. So we'll see if we can, hopefully, even if we have to use resources like ERS to get in his DRS, that would be gigantic, because that's just so much time that we save right there, especially in a race where we're on the opposite strategy. Every time I can get the DRS on him on the main straight, that literally saves me like 4 or 5 tenths right there, and that all really adds up in a hurry.
The gap between you and the car behind,
bringing the race forward all the way to lap 12. At this point, you know, big gap between second and third, and we continue to slowly claw away at Timo here as his soft tires start to wear out. Mediums obviously are wearing as well, but not wearing near as much as his softs are. And at this point, I was expecting him to pit, I don't know, maybe make an undercut and not risk battling with me or anything, but no, I don't know. It's just one of those things you think about. You think about everything when you're driving. And yes, we get the DRS on the start of lap 13 here, and this is huge because you can just see how much time I'm saving. Just on that straight alone, I probably gained 3 or 4 tenths right there for free. And like I said earlier, when you're on opposite strategies, those swings of time are really going to add up when the end of the race comes. And if we can get in front of him before he pits, then by the time we pit, the gap that we'll have to make back up to him is going to be very small. And being on the softs against his mediums, it's basically going to be a win unless if we would come together. So at this point, looking really good, and I'm actually really happy with how I'm doing on this track. I thought I was going to get blown out of the water on this track, like I said, being a pad player and being very disadvantaged on this track. But we're just being very smooth, very consistent. You can see there I actually let off quite a bit. I was anticipating a safety car and underfueled a little bit compared to what I would usually put in the car. So I figured, I'm not going to overtake him here. I'm going to be waiting for a DRS zone, so I might as well save a little bit of fuel just to be on the safe side. I want to save just a little bit of fuel. I was literally hoping to just save a 10th of a lap of fuel. And there you can see, this is all playing out perfectly. He pits, and I get the DRS. So I might not get that little bit of slipstream to help give me even more straight line speed here, but getting the DRS and the overtake all in one, we're not going to complain about that at all. So yeah, now we're in the lead, and we just keep doing what we have been doing, racing our own race. We're on our own strategy.
The time last lap was a 1 minute.
Yeah, I was confirming that we went into the mediums, because if you would mess up the strategy there and go to hards, I would really kind of tone it back and really play it safe, because at that point you would have the race won. And you always got to double check that, because drivers do make errors. People do make the wrong calls on tires sometimes, and sometimes you can just get free wins. I've gotten a lot of free wins just because other people don't know the preferred strats. So you never know when it comes to league racing what's going to happen. Everything can change in the moment, in any moment. As we move to the end of lap 19 now, this is the lap that I intended on pitting on. 19 laps on the mediums, 13 laps on the softs. Get a nice clean pit entry. Ooh, broke a little bit early there. Gonna have to tighten that up for future league races. Pull into the Red Bull pit. Same thing as always, it's 2.6-second pit stop. I knew I just lapped a McLaren, and I was hoping, oof, it's a good thing that that the lap car is ghost, even in the pit lane, because that would have been really inconvenient if I get held up in the pits by a car that's lapped down. That would have been a little frustrating, because at this point, while I'm sitting pretty, I know that team is going to be passing me here, and I want to have to make up the least amount of time as possible.
Line on the exit. We'll receive
as you can see there, it was very late in the pit lane until Timo got by us, so that gave me confidence that I don't have to make up that much time. And on these softs, I'm confident that obviously I have a pace advantage over him, and I was thinking, all right, we're sitting in a great spot right now on a track I thought I was definitely going to lose on. Just a couple seconds back on fresh softs, and things are looking good right now. It's surprisingly well, honestly. Barely an inconvenience. Moving forward now, end of lap 21, last couple corners here. We're putting in the purple sectors. We're in his slipstream. We are catching up to him quickly, and this was probably going to be the moment right here that we will go for the overtake. But we do see him using a lot of DRS right there. So I was also thinking, you know what? It doesn't have to be this moment. I can wait, but it looks like a gap's going to open on the outside. I brake early, not risking it. Those little things like that, as long as you play it safe, sometimes you can force your opponent into an error. They can either go off the track, get themselves a warning or a penalty, or make their run onto the next straight horrible, and then you can just get a free overtake then. So always worth doing little cheeky stuff like that, even if you know that you're not going to commit to the move. But here you're just seeing the virtue of patience, but I brake a tiny bit late there. I almost fuck up, and I do bump the back of him. But I was thinking, oh boy, just cool it down, back off a little bit, chill out. It's only lap 22 of 32, and we're in his DRS on the better tire. It's just a matter of time until we get this overtake, probably. Don't need to risk anything. But that was a little bit of a panic moment. I can't believe I broke too late. I don't think I actually broke too late. It was just the fact that because I'm on the softer tire, my braking point's going to be just the slightest bit deeper in his, which caused that little bit of a bumper scrape. But there, he actually gets a bad run out of the final corner. I do barely touch the stones, but I was still able to get the power down. He doesn't burn the ERS that he did last time, and we're able to make the overtake. Luckily, it doesn't end the way that it did for George Russell when he tried to overtake Bottas and ran himself off the track. And now we are into the lead of this race, and again, I'm very surprised how this race is going. It's a horrible pad track. I really struggle for raw pace on this track, and we're still just putting in the consistent laps. I'm driving what I think is pretty well to my own ability. And yeah, honestly, it's been pretty uneventful so far. Not even a virtual safety car. The only bit of excitement so far in this race is the fact that me and Timo were on opposite strategies, which it feels like we're on opposite strategies every race now I think about it. Either he goes on the medium tire or I go on the medium tire qualifying, it seems like, but never both of us. Maybe one of these times we'll be on the same strategy. But here's another convenience. When you're in a league that the field's very spread out, you're going to come across lapped cars. The advantage to being in front is that sometimes you can get DRS off those lap cars, and you get it before your opponent does. So that's always nice, and it gives us a purple lap as well. Jeff thinks I'm gonna box again, but I would love the number to his drug dealer because I ain't boxing again. Unless if there's a safety car, then maybe I can throw in some fresh softs. Would I even? Yeah, I probably would. And yeah, as you heard there, pulling out the second lap on Timo, just keeping everything nice, tidy, and smooth. And we got 9 more laps to bring home another win. Moving forward, getting close to the end of the race now, on the penultimate lap. And right here's the dumbest thing I've done all season. Turning too early, and I get myself a fucking penalty. And remember, apparently there's a cash prize for least penalties, and now I got one. A really fucking stupid one. And honestly, it was just a lapse of concentration. At this point, I'm out in front. I think Timo had already picked to go for fastest lap. It's just bringing home this one. If we don't crash, we win. And in that kind of just lapse of concentration, I do something stupid and get myself a penalty. I hope that doesn't come to bite me at the end of the season, but you know, it is what it is. At the end of the day, I am never going to complain about coming away with 25 points on any track, let alone a track like this. Like, this is a gigantic momentum swing to pick up the win on this track. There's 3 tracks that I'm really concerned about in the game in terms of being a pad player. Imola being one of them. The other Italian track, Monza, being another one, a bunch of chicanes that you just can't take as fast as you need to because of steering saturation, and the last one being Monaco. Last year's game, when the cars had more downforce, it wasn't as much of an issue, but in this year's game, like I said, that steering saturation just kills you. You just can't carry as much speed as the wheel players through the chicanes, and it's just really frustrating. So those are the 3 tracks that I kind of expect to not win on any given calendar, and getting the win here on one of these, and this being my 5th win in a row now, my only not win being the disconnect in round 1. You know, can't complain about that at all. But at the end of the day, while we are leading the Drivers' Championships by, I believe, like somewhere between 21 and 21 points. Somewhere between 21 and 23 points. We are still behind in the Constructors. I don't know the exact amount because we've been a little late with the point standings. But nonetheless, pick up the win. It's going to be Timo in second again. Original God's going to pick up the last spot on the podium. A lap down. Me and Timo, the only drivers on the lead lap. And it's a big gap between me and Timo, that doesn't show the actual gap between us. It's just the fact that he pit for fastest lap. So obviously there's going to be a big gap if he makes another pit stop to go for fastest lap. But will he pick up the bonus point for fastest lap is the question. Or will he invalidate his lap with a track extension as it comes across the line? It was fastest lap, so we only outscore him by 6 points instead of the 7. And, well, I guess it would have been 8 because I had fastest lap. And his teammate, even though DNF'd, Markologist does pick up 1 point in 10th. So as a team, Red Bull, we do still outscore them, but only by 5 points. But like I said, hey, every little bit helps, especially on a track like this where this was like a damage control track. And the track that was drawn out of the hat, or whatever she draws it out for the next race, is unfortunately Italy. So on one side, we're getting 2 of those 3 troublesome pad tracks out of the way in the first third of the season, but at the same time, it's both of those right in a row. So it's going to be another race next week where Italy's a track I hate league racing on for 2 reasons. 1, pad players just eat shit there. And 2, it's just a slipstream fest. 2 things I hate about certain tracks for league racing. But it is what it is, and like I said, all the tracks are unique challenges in their own way. I'm still going to practice for it nonetheless. But yeah, it's going to be one of those challenging ones that, like I said, even if you get a second in the championship, you need to make sure you're getting seconds and not DNFs, because that's, at the end of the day, going to be what the difference is. Yeah, we pick up the win, don't get fastest lap, but we do get a penalty. But a win at Imola, 5 in a row now, 5 out of the 6 to start the season. Can't complain about that one bit. So yeah, that's going to be it for this one. Sorry that this one was a little bit more boring. Just no virtual safety cars, no nothing. Nothing really happened. The only thing that really happened was, hey, I went medium softs and Timo went soft mediums. That's basically it. But you know, it is what it is. If all the races were exciting, then it would make them less exciting. You know what I mean? You need a boring one now and again to make the exciting ones that much better. I'll see you guys next week, and maybe that one will be a little bit better.